a new video regarding the continuous integration and continuous delivery by the integration of Git Maven Jenkins and Docker. So I am currently present on my GitHub repository. Repository name is CICD Git Maven Jenkins and Docker. This is the project diagram. In the last project, I've shown you how to build and deploy your application. So in this project, you can see that the deployment will be done on Docker through the publish or SSH plugin, which we will configure in the Jenkins. It will be running on an AWS EC2, and when the deployment has occurred, it will result in two apps. The first one is our application, our web application, and second one is the Tomcat server. Both of these uh, will be the part of the Docker file which will be executed and deployed onto the Docker container. These are the commands which I'll be executing during this tutorial. So I'm starting with the first one command, which is to launch an EC2 instance for the Docker host. So let me ins install an instance. Okay, let me rename this instance to Docker host. Okay, so now it's in running state and this is the public IP address. Okay, so I'm going to configure the system. So I'm using the SSH software mobile external. The username here is ec2-user. Use private key. I have already downloaded. Okay, so I have now logged into my console. Let me clear the screen. So let me now execute the set of commands. I'll go to my repository. Here first, I will install Docker on this instance and will start the services. So I'll run this command first. Okay, so let me clear the screen. Then the second command, service docker start, to start the Docker services. Service docker start. Okay, so now you can see that our Docker has been started services and we can also verify it with the docker.service command that it's currently in active and running state. Let me clear screen. So next, we'll create a new user for the Docker management and add him to the Docker default group. So this is our username Docker admin, and with the user add command, we will be adding this Docker admin user. Okay, so for password, PA, password is also Docker admin. Okay, so it's asking me for new password. Okay, so all authentication tokens updated successfully. So we have created the user Docker admin. Let me clear the screen. Okay, so now we will add this user to the Docker group with this command. So user mode dash ag docker admin. Okay, so this user has now been added to the Docker group. Now I will write a Docker file inside this folder and will paste this code inside it. So let me go to the folder. Here I'll create the Docker folder. Let's go inside it. And here I will write a Docker file. The Docker D will be capital here with the nano command. Docker file. I will now copy the code from here and paste it to my Docker file. Okay, so with this code is basically pulling the Tomcat image, Tomcat 9 image from the repo. Then the maintainer is optional. You can write it or you can ignore it. And the third important is to copy the var file onto the container. The var file, which is the pom.xml file written in Maven. So it will be copied from this location to the newly created Docker host at this location, web apps. So this is the contents of the Docker file. So I'm exiting. Press Y for the saving the file. Okay. So the next we will log into our Jenkins console and add the Docker service to execute commands from Jenkins. So let's first log into the Jenkins. Okay, so now I will start my Jenkins master first. So instance, start instance. Okay, so this is the public IP. I'm copying it and pasting it in my browser. Okay, insert the username and password. Okay, so first I'll add the Docker service detail by going to manage Jenkins, then to configure system. In this configuration window, you will find the published over SSH. If I can scroll down, it's here, publish or SSH, and these are the server, the SSH server. I'll delete this one. So SSH server, here I'll add the new server, the name of my instance, the Docker host. Let me scroll it down. The Docker host, so I'll mention it here. Docker host. Then the host name. Host name is the private IP address of the system. My Docker host private IP is this one. And the username we have configured earlier was Docker admin. Here I'll click on advanced. Here I'll write the password which I have mentioned for the Docker admin. So we have provided the name of the host, Docker host, the host name, the IP, then the username, Docker admin, and then the password. So I think these details are quite enough. Port is 22 and then proxy tab. Okay, so let me test the configuration first. Okay, fail to connect or change directory. There's some authentication fail message. So um, let me check. Okay. Okay, so to rectify this problem, I need to enable the password-based authentication, which is currently disabled for the system. So let me go to the Docker host computer. This is my Docker host. Okay, so this is the file. So at the bottom, I'll enable the password authentication. And for enabling, I am removing this ampersand sign. Okay. Okay, so now I'll save it. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to a Jenkins again to configure my server, and now I'll test the connection again. Let me test it again. Okay, first I'll have to restart the service. Okay, so let me check the test configuration again. Okay, so now it's in success message. Okay, so let me go to my Jenkins repository. Okay, so we have added the Docker server and credentials. So now we'll be create a Jenkins job. So for that, I am going to first time saving this. Okay, so now I'll create a new Jenkins job by clicking on new item. The project name, I'll write here the Docker Docker project. It's a Maven project and click OK. In the description, I'm writing this is a Git Maven Jenkins Docker integration. Okay, the source code management here, I'll mention the Git repository, the URL, which is this one. Copy, paste it here. Okay, here my branch is main branch. Okay, so in the pre-steps, I'll go to send files or execute commands or SSH. Okay, so here I'll define the further configuration. My host name is already selected, Docker host. My source files are here. I want to remove this prefix. I'm removing this. And my remote directory is opt/docker. And these are the execution commands which I want to run. Okay, so I have defined the source files which are static.var, and the prefix will be removed, then my remote directory, and then the execution of commands. If I can show you a bit, these are in fact when the image is already created and the container is running, so it will remove that. It will first stop that Docker container, then will remove it, then we'll remove the image of it, and then we'll go to the slash opt slash docker folder, and then we'll build this image by the name docker underscore demo. Okay, so I think okay. For here I'm just specifying the build portion of it. So I'll create a new send files or execute command or SSH. Here in this one, I will specify the uh, the Docker execution, uh, the execution command. So I'm copying the code, pasting it in the execution command, and the source. Okay, so we have already specified the Docker host. So here our image will be built, and here the Docker file will be executed in this portion. With this command, this is a Docker run command. Uh, this is the name of our Docker, and this is the port 8090, which will be mapped to this one. We can also write 8080 here, but I am writing it 8090 so that to differentiate between both. And this is our Docker file name, which will be executed on our runtime, and a container will be generated. Okay, so I guess this is it, and let me save it. Okay, so now let me build this shop. Okay, so there's the yellow icon. Let me check it. Okay, so the finish is unstable. Okay, so let me execute one more command of chown here. Uh, chown minus r is for recursive, and then docker admin, which are our user, docker admin, and then the destination, which is slash opt slash docker. Invalid user. Docker admin. Okay, I've written it mistakenly. Docker admin. Okay, let me clear screen. So now let me execute the build again. Okay, so this time our build is now successful, and the build is successful, and this is a var and jar file which has been deployed. So let me check the application. Let me first copy this public IP address. 8090. Okay, so you can see that this is the Tomcat server, which is the result of the Docker file, and inside it we'll write web app. This is the application which has been deployed. DevOps with Git Maven project deployment on Tomcat server using Jenkins file, which is which is inside the web app, and this is index.jsp. This is the code which has been executed. Let me go to the VS Code and change my code from there. VS Code. I'm cloning my Git repository by cloning the repository and then the URL of this repository. Code, copy, and then to my VS Code here. It's asking me about the folder, so I'm creating a new folder. Docker Project. Select repository location. So it's now cloning my Git. Okay, so these are now my project folders and files. So I'll arrive to the web app and then to my index.jsp where my code is located. So this is my code. Let me add another line to this code using Jenkins CICD pipeline. So I've added this new line. So let me save it, and then on the terminal window, I am adding. I am first of all giving the command of git add dot. Let me check the status. So one file index.jsp has been modified. So git commit minus m is updated. So one file is changed now. So let me write the command git push origin main. In my case, it's main. So the file has now been pushed, and let's see when it arrives again. Here, here. Let's see the sixth build now. Okay, so it's arrived. You can see that it's now at the build stage. So my build and deployment is now finished. Okay, so here you can see that the third line has been added using Jenkins CI/CD pipeline, which I have done to the by inserting the code into the VS Code. So this was about this project of the CI/CD using Git Maven Jenkins and Docker, and we have deployed our application to the Docker. So I hope you people have liked this video, and this has been an informative video for you.